Of course, I'm not president, and I'm not running for president. But if I were, or if I was Trump, this is what I would do. A lot has transpired over the last few days. You've seen a lot of endorsements. You see DeSantis dropping out. To be honest with you, I think Haley will stay in. I think Haley won't endorse Trump no matter what. I'm scared to see the movement of people that are mad going towards another candidates just because they don't like Trump from DeSantis. But today we're going to talk about what I would do if I was Trump. And I think this is a good game plan. I think each one of you would say the same thing. Let's jump into it today of what Trump should be doing. And then if he wants to win, these may be the answers here. Let's jump into it. Today's video starts right now.
It's what I try to tell you with my song. Tell you with my song.
Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope this video is encouraging to you, and I hope that, again, I'm not an advisor, I'm not in politics, but if I was advising Trump, this is what I would say. And I think this would help, unite the conservatives as well. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Let us know what you think about this content, about this video today. And give me your thoughts, because it helps us work together and build a better, wiser, more common sense approach to navigating this world for our family. That's all we do this for, is for our families. Now, let's jump into it. What are some of the things that I think we can find common denominators for Trump and for the DeSantis group, the Vivek group, some of the other ones that are considered, never Trumpers? It's funny because conservatives and libertarians that say they're never Trumpers, your only other option is a liberal person, either with RFK saying that if you don't believe in climate change, you're going to jail, or Biden, who is taking your rights away. So let's just be honest. I'm just being honest. As a conservative or libertarian, you're saying that you're not really a conservative libertarian that wants to see freedom. You just don't like Trump. Anyways, I digress. Let's jump into the things that will help us have a common denominator. So you know what? We can work together and make a better America for our family. Remember, we're just in cycles. There's ups and downs. We have bad years. We have depressions. We have world wars. The only thing different about this time is we have a lot more technology and we are dealing with more spiritual issues, I think. So I think that we have to find someone who is wanting to lead in a way that represents Christianity and conservatism. Well, to be honest with you, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to find this Christian leader, Billy Graham style, Republican conservative president. So we have to go with what is best for us with the options that we have. I'm not going to say that lesser two evils. I think that's a very stupid comment. I think you got to go with who will represent you better. Now, here's the things that I think we have to look at. Closing the border. Everybody knows that. This is a 70% issue. 70 to 75% of people believe that we need to close the border, either because of illegal things coming across the border or the fact of sovereignty of a nation. So this should be an easy win for Trump and the conservatives to push for closing the border. Everyone on the libertarian and conservative side would say we want this. Even some Democrats would say they would want this. So don't talk about building a wall and not do it. I'm saying let's get down there and let's find common goals. I think Vivek had a phenomenal idea of how he would close the border and how he would build the wall. I think that you can really tap into Vivek here and get some of that populism, that youngness, that entrepreneurial spirit that I think Trump sometimes lacks. I think Vivek could take on. I think this is something you need to jump in and say, look, me and Vivek are working on this and we're going to do it together. I think that helps grab a part of the groups that, that may not like Trump. They're like, but you know what? He's the only one talking about closing the border. Number two is you cut war funding and representation that is not good for America across the world. We cannot police the world. We're not imperialist. We cannot keep doing what we're doing. Here's the thing. I think you need to rehash every negotiation. We talked about NATO with Trump back in 2016, and there was some major changes. A lot of the world is scared to death of Donald Trump. I don't know if it's because they don't understand him. I don't know if it's because they actually think he's not an elitist and he's not pushing these certain, agendas that most people are pushing. But I will say this. If you said, okay, I'm not going to fund any more of your wars. I'm not going to fund any more of my quote-unquote allies who hate us. We give millions to the Middle East, billions to the Middle East, to people who hate our guts. Why do we do that? Let's renegotiate all those. I think, again, over 50% of the population would say, yes, I don't want to keep putting my kids' money and my tax dollars across the seas if we don't have people who want to stand with us. I don't see anybody sending their troops to our border to protect our border. Do you? So why are we sending billions of our money over there when we can just secure our borders and it solves the problem? I'd renegotiate every contract. If someone doesn't like us, if one of these countries don't like us, they don't get our money. They don't get our protection, and we walk away. I think more than 50% of the population would really agree with this, and this would go back to the libertarians, the Tulsi Gabbards, the RFKs, the people who say, you know what, we just want freedom from that. Well, here you go. Let's start by taking money away from sending it to defense contractors across the world to say in the name of safety, and all we're doing is just wasting money. Let's bring our money home, and let's work on our border, and let's work on tightening our security here at home and building a phenomenal defense mechanism, but being based in America. Number 3, stop all immigration moving for 2 years. Legal, illegal, it doesn't matter. No more immigration for at least 2 years. Now that's a crass thing, and I know most of the left would say, oh, that's crazy. This country was built on immigration. Okay, but we've got to get a hold of what we have going on here in America. We have a melting pot, but we have no assimilation. We have people groups that are building their own little diatribes, and they're not proud of being part of America. We have to get patriotism and real American values back. What I mean by that is we have to care for who we are representing. You have Democratic lawmakers. You have several lawmakers who are not even happy with America. Well, first of all, why are they representing quote unquote Americans and all they're doing is speaking hate against America? Well, let's stop the movement of people and let's say, you know what, no more mass immigration. No more immigration as of right now. Let's just pause it for 2 to 3 years. Let's get a hold on what we've got going on here. Let's make people proud of being American again. And then once we start moving people in, again, assimilation is possible. There's nothing wrong with keeping a lot of your own values and core beliefs when you come to this country. However, the whole purpose of your moving here is you want a better life. Well, then don't screw it up by bringing all your trash from the other worlds here. So stop all immigration for at least 2 to 3 years. Pause it. Let's get a hold on patriotism and understanding what real American values are again, and I think this would help as well. Number 4, no new spending. Of course, this is one that everybody promises and they suck at. 66% of all your politicians are bought out by Big Pharma. They're a part of the lobbying group there. Over 50% are bought off by defense spending. So therefore, those two movements, and again, the fact that federal monies such as Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, all that's just passing through too, and a lot of that's lobbied with the big insurances and so forth. All that makes your politicians spend more money than they have. Well, any house that spends more than they have do not have money, and they're broke, and they'll wind up being a broken home. We know that from experience of all of us living in a personal world. We can't just keep writing endless checks. So therefore, our government can't either. I think we got to quit spending. No more new spending. Anyone on the conservative side said, you know what, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to spend any new dollars. No new dollars. If we need a new thing spent for, we take it from somewhere else. We start rehabbing some of this and we say, okay, over the next 4 years, over my term, because he's not going back in, so after this 4 years, we're going to cut our budget by 20%. Not only are we doing that, we're not going to have any new spending. Now, I'm not talking about loopholes where they make some kind of end around. I'm saying no new spending. If a spending bill comes out, every congressman should be fired. It's simple. It's that easy. You can borrow money when your economy is booming and doing phenomenal. Your economy is not booming and doing phenomenal. We're crutching it up. The Fed is crutching it up. The government's crutching it up, and we're going broke. So no new spending. I think if we promise that, we promise no new spending, and you bring a coalition of congressmen who are willing to be not sellouts, I believe you can make a difference here. Number 5, you put term limits. This goes along with the last point. If you have true people who want to serve America, then they're going willing to put term limits on themselves. And that means congressmen and senators. The sad thing is, they're so narcissistic and so selfish that only about a third of them would even say, you know, that's a good thing. Because that means they're without a job and without all that lobbying money coming in and all that insider trading. But that's truth. That's what needs to happen. You start building a coalition and you start talking more about term limits. I think the populist is going to come up and say, you know what, we need to build referendums and make this happen. This is a huge deal. Also, this goes back to the next point of states. Trump needs to come out and say states have power. The federal government is there to make sovereign borders and protect and have one voice for the nation. However, the states should have power over what they want to set as policy for their residents. I think that represents you more. Mississippi, because I live here, will represent me more than what Washington will. So we emphasize, of course, our president or our congressman or senate, but really when it comes down to it, the school boards, the state capitals, the city governments, the aldermans, that's the ones that actually set policy for us and makes a difference. So we need to give power back to the states. I think if a president would come in and say, you know what, I'm done acting like I'm your boss and I'm a king. I'm not. I'm elected by the people based on the way we represent. However, the states are the ones that actually have the power. We just try to speak in one unified voice with the president. We need to give states back power. Trump should go to Texas right now and say, I stand with Texas on what they're doing against the Biden administration. I stand with them taking care of their borders because the federal government is failing. And I'm with them, and I hope more states will do the same. This is a game changer. You know how you make all this happen? You talk about the team, you talk about putting the younger conservatives together. But here's what I would do. I would actually meet with a few people. If I was Trump, and if I was, and I'd have Vivek and DeSantis in this meeting, I would meet with people like podcasters and people who are in this new movement of marketability that's not mainstream. Forget mainstream. I would work with the people like the Sean Ryans. I'd work with the people like PBD, Patrick Bet-David, and his organization. I'd meet with Glenn Beck. I'd meet with Charlie Kirk. And I'd get all these guys in a room. That's 4 or 5. I mean, you can add more to that. And I would meet with them. I'd even bring in people like Russell Brand, people on the libertarian side who really doesn't like Trump. I would actually meet with Elon Musk as well, bring in Tucker Carlson. So if you have the 6 or 7 biggest names in podcasting, you now have millions of eyeballs and millions of ears that listen to these men every day and really believe everything they say. That's what we do. They're influencers. They're huge platforms. You meet with them and you powwow around a table and you say, okay, build me a marketing campaign that can win. From the conservative side to the libertarian side to the fact of the populism, American first side, to the fact of understanding people, the young, the old, and what they're wanting. These 7 or 8 men who lead these organizations that are really impacting and influencing, that doesn't take politicians and fake lobbyist money to do it. You meet with them and you sit them around the table and say, okay, let's work together. And I have DeSantis and Vivek there too, and we would work together and build a phenomenal marketing approach that wins everybody. It's not about buying out these podcasters. I didn't say that. Some of these guys may not support you, but they have the eyes and ears to say, you know what, this guy's trying to listen to me. Let's work together on this. I think that's a game changer too. And lastly, I think most people would get behind Trump on is if he says, I'm going to not only revamp, but completely take off all the 3-letter agencies, all the bureaucracy that it represents, all those people up at the very tip top of all those 3-letter agencies. Get rid of every one of them. I think, again, Vivek had a great plan on this. I think this is something that he should be able to tackle and let Trump, and Trump needs to trust him with what he's saying there. Now, I want to speak just for a second to DeSantis' group. I'm a conservative. I love DeSantis. I think he's a phenomenal governor. I think he got people in his ear to speak too quickly, and I think he could have sat out for another 4 years. I think you'd see a Trump-DeSantis ticket right now. As we speak, I think you'd have saw a Trump-DeSantis ticket, and it would be an easy win for DeSantis in 28. I would love to see that still. I know there's some bridges burned, but I think Trump should pull DeSantis as the running mate. I think Vivek should be the Secretary of State or Chief of Staff. I think that would fit his role, and I think he is a game changer when it comes to being a bully dog for Trump. I think the thing the Vice President should do is help win votes, but also almost be a little bit different. I think the Chief of Staff or the Press Secretary should be the cheerleader and should be the one that's fully behind the President. I think those 3 men together really can do some good things. I think what that does also is it helps pull some of those people who are not Nikki Haley fans, who really don't believe in climate change like RFK, because RFK has some crazy beliefs. Go back and look at some of his stuff on Second Amendment rights and climate change. If you're libertarian or conservative, you can't support him. Come on. And of course, Biden. So I think that's what I would do if I was Trump. I would bring in Vivek and DeSantis very close. We would have an apology, hug it out tour, and we would work together, and we would be running this whole scenario together. The art of the deal, like Trump wrote one time, is negotiation. I'd come in there and I'd negotiate. And I'd take these two men beside me, and everywhere I went, they would go, and it would help unite, correlate all the populists, the libertarian, the young, the more conservative, and the Christian, and of course, and the America First group. It would help it all to coalesce together and build a team that can win and make America the country it should be. A sovereign, free nation for people to raise their family and hopefully attract to be better than what we've done. Guys, thank you so much for watching. That's just my thoughts for the day. If I'm wrong, let me know. If you think I'm crazy, I know everybody's a little hurt from the last few days of people dropping out of the races, but I believe if I was Trump, I'd pull Vivek and I'd pull DeSantis very close, and we would go everywhere together and work as a team. Because when we work as a team, also you're building the future of the conservative party with DeSantis and Vivek. My thoughts. Let me know what you think. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.
Feel like you were happy for a while.